Hey there. It's really hard to go green. And no, I'm not talking about recycling or eliminating solvents from your studio. I'm talking about dealing with the color green. I'm Mary Gilkerson, and today we're going to be diving into why you really should think about mixing your greens rather than using that tube of green you've got sitting on your tab array. It is deep summer, full-on summer here in the deep south. And so as you can see, we're surrounded by green. It is a green world and will be for the next couple of months. That means there is no way to escape dealing with green. We got to deal with it. One of the problems is that the greens that you get in a tube rarely look natural. They just don't fit with what you see in the natural world. So my suggestion is that you think strongly about mixing your greens instead. As most of you know, I advocate using that double primary palette. And if you're using the double primary palette, it is not that hard to mix a great, huge range of greens. So what you want to do is to grab your yellow ochre and your Indian yellow, your ultramarine blue and your phthalo blue, and experiment with different combinations of those four colors. Just with those four and the occasional close complement, you can mix a really spectacular range of greens. So I want you to dive into trying that. Yeah, going green is really hard. And there are a lot more options out there when you mix them yourself than when you use the greens that are in a tube. They have a tendency to be way, way too intense. For example, Viridian or phthalo green is so super intense that it looks like Soylent green, like something that has been nuked by a reactor. It is way too intense for what you see back here. This is a more natural, rich green. You want to get that, what you see in the environment, the colors that are influenced by light, colors that are influenced by the shadows, and the light hitting it. So, for example, I'm going to poke over here and let y'all see my palette. These are colors that I used on a recent painting. So let me switch, see if I can get it to switch here. So if you look here, these greens down at the bottom of my palette, not a single one of them came straight out of the tube. Not even the ones that look super intense. And I've got a couple of really definitely duller ones. They're in shadow, a little hard to see there. But the colors that you get when you mix them just are going to be a lot closer to what you see in the natural world. Taking those basics, the double primary palette, and beginning to play with those, you're going to be able to ramp up your greens by a significant amount. It also gets you over the fear of green because what you mix is not going to be quite as screaming green as, say, phthalo green or even cinnabar green light. I know some of you use cinnabar green light. I do too, but I never use it straight out of the tube. So remember, my first tip is to mix all of your greens from scratch. It's like cooking from scratch. Second tip is if you use a green that comes in a tube, like cinnabar green light, don't use it straight out of the tube. Do something to it. Modify it a little bit. Take a little bit of a close complement and mix it in to dull it out. So if you take something like a little Montserrat orange to cinnabar green light, that's going to knock the edge off of it to make it look a lot more natural. You can do the same thing with a lot of them. Sally says she ends up using phthalo to mix green and then gets all contaminated by the phthalo. I agree. The phthalo making green works really well if you want pure green. Phthalo blue is what I mean there. But it can be super, super intense. So I only mix phthalo blue with something like yellow ochre. My usual green, if it's for shadows, might have phthalo in it, but it's going to be phthalo with yellow ochre. To make the more warm highlight colors, it's going to be ultramarine blue and Indian yellow. So experiment to see what works best for you. You're probably going to need a range of them. And again, if you use one straight out of the tube, make sure you knock the edge off of it so it's not hyper intense. And I see Beth Williams is on the line. Hey, Beth. Hope that Spoleto has been going well for you. There's Donna. She says her greens are filled with bugs right now. Yeah, I know what you mean. Mine too. There are probably at least a few love bugs in there. There were a couple when I was painting down at the beach this past weekend. And right now, when you see me hopping around, it's because we have biting flies out here that are nibbling on my ankles as we talk. So doing a little monkey dance about greens, and it's from all of those bugs. So let me see, I think there was somebody else up here. Michael Drake is with us, and Deepa Kumar. It's good to see you. And Ginger Box. And Leslie is with us, and Kent. Good to have y'all with me this afternoon. So I really want you to think about playing with those greens a little bit more. Don't use the ones that are in the tube. Mix them from scratch. If you have to use one from a tube, modify it just a little bit. Don't take the first thing that comes out of the tube. I really advocate that for almost all of the colors because they all need to have the edge knocked off just a hair. Hope that helps, and can't wait to see what y'all do with it. Share your green paintings with the rest of us. Would love to see them.